Hello and welcome to This Album with me, William Han. It's the podcast where each episode, a guest and I are going to deep dive an album of their choice. Any artist, any genre, any year. And we are going to discuss the songs, the shows, the artwork. But what I really want to know is where my guests first heard the album and the emotional attachment they have to the record. Who knows? We might even have a bit of a laugh while doing it. Can you tell it's episode 17?
Absolutely class. Nailed it.
A question for the listener. What separates a civilian from a hero? Have you ever scrolled the socials and wondered, who the hell is this knobhead? Or, what the fuck have I just watched? Or, what is a bevo? Where the average civilian would scroll past and wonder what the hell they're doing with their life, today's guest leans in like a hero. HS Tiki Toki, Tom Skinner, the weird brewdog bloke, the Rizzler, all men, brackets children, that could physically or financially destroy today's guest. And yet, in the name of comedy, he will tear them apart for our enjoyment, the enjoyment of the average civilian. And that is what makes today's guest such a hero. From the #1 podcast in the UK at time of recording, Rotter, it's Jake Farrell.
What an intro. I don't know. I feel touched. I feel moved.
You having that?
Yeah, I'll take that all day long.
Touched and moved.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. I mean, just to technically the #1 episode.
Let's discuss this.
I did appreciate the #1 podcast, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Although we'll take it.
We're taking it?
Yeah, why not?
Congratulations, mate. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's lovely to be here. Lovely surroundings of this hotel.
An honour, a pleasure, a privilege.
Yeah.
What's been happening in your world?
Well, like you've alluded to, we started doing this stupid podcast like 18 months ago about social media stuff, and it's all got a bit out of hand, really. So yeah, just trying to like keep that rolling along at the moment. Yesterday we got this thing saying it was like the #1 episode in the UK, which it looked like a Photoshop, the person we got it sent from, because like we were #1, and I think underneath it was like the rest is politics and Joe Rogan and stuff. It didn't quite. I'm not really sure quite how the algorithm does it, because it's clearly not raw volume of listeners.
Well, I can confirm that is the case, because believe it or not, I actually got to #1 on the first week of this podcast.
Oh, there we go, yeah. So, well deserved.
It's been a bit dismissive there. Fucking hell. Cheers, mate. But no, I know for the first week, as long as you get like a couple of 5-star reviews and a couple of followers, it doesn't take much to get up there.
Yeah.
So I don't fucking care what anyone says. This podcast got to #1 on Spotify's music podcast chart. Fuck you, Annie Mac.
Get
Fuck
fucked.
you, Nick Grimshaw.
Well done.
But well done to you and
Thanks,
to me.
mate.
When it actually...
Yeah, well done to all of us.
So yeah, I think for people that don't know much about it, how could you describe your podcast and what you do in a bit more detail, please?
Well, me and my mate Jacob, who we've been mates for about 10 years, we're both doing stand-up comedy for 10 years. He was full-time, I was kind of part-time. And he would basically send me the dregs of the internet via Instagram message and WhatsApp. And at the time, this is kind of like a real Faustian bargain that I've entered into, because I wasn't on social media. Like I had an Instagram account, I didn't go on it, and he would just send me the stuff, and I would have to engage. Well, I wouldn't have to, but like I would be like, "You're ruining my life. Stop sending me this stuff." And he would send me Bevo, and he would send me other horrendous stuff, and like that was where the idea came from. Basically, he was like, well, "We're doing this. Why don't we just put it on tape?" And then I guess from there it's like morphed into this slightly. I have quite a high-minded view about it. Like I think it's like a kind of cultural criticism.
Yeah,
in a way,
it's a real
in a very stupid way.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, there's comedy.
Yeah,
there's fun to be had here.
Yeah,
but really, this is like a moment in time that you're caught on kind of capturing, I think, right?
Yeah.
Am I overthinking it a bit?
No. I mean, it is first and foremost like comedy. If people haven't listened to it, that might want to. It's stupid and it's funny and it's a kind of just us talking rubbish and we're mates. But there is also trying to understand like what is going on with this stuff. So we recently talked about like there's a real social media movement around the chopping down of ULEZ cameras.
Yes.
I don't know if you're aware of this.
Oh, I'm aware.
And these guys, like, it's fucking mad. And it's like, it's a thing, it's a social media phenomenon in and of itself, as well as like a political phenomenon.
Yeah.
And so it's just like trying to understand it, and also being like, these men are like burning ULEZ cameras in the woods. This is mental. Like,
it's beyond tribal, isn't it? Fucking hell.
It's a bit scary, really. But so that's kind of what I think. But it's mainly stupid jokes as well.
I think the last sentence there is probably the sentence I should use going forward, because I'm struggling to sell your podcast to anyone.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this podcast is well funny. There's two blokes, right? And you know, like, people online, yeah, they sort of like laugh at them and take the piss out of them a bit. It does sound very nice. But no, it's funnier than that. And they're not like total bullies about it. They always sort of punch up.
This is it. We are struggling with it. Obviously, like, for the start of any podcasting endeavor, like, no one was listening.
What's that?
No, for ages.
Hey?
Apart from this one, which was number one the week it came out.
And yeah,
just goes from strength to strength.
Of my listeners on episode
exactly,
one.
Yeah.
Cheers, Mum.
We had, and so it just felt like, and we were recording it in Jacob's spare bedroom. The camera would conk out because it was too hot.
Sure.
We
on
had
that point. We're all right.
Oh, we're all right. It's all good. Jacob's cat would come in, like, he's got 2 kids. They would require attention, annoyingly. We're trying to podcast.
I feel like you've got one as well now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so it's like a difficult thing. It's not really that big yet. Do you know what I mean? I had this silly thing yesterday. We have.
Well, you had something pretty significant a couple of weeks back.
What was that?
We had a rather large live show.
Oh yeah, we did. You came, right?
Well, this is it. This is the third time I've been in the room with you in the space of about a month now. It feels a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. I'm sorry.
Well, because you also kindly came to a stand-up show we did in Luton.
Yes, I was going to say I've seen you at 2 very different extremes.
Yeah.
So why don't you explain a bit about the larger first show?
Well, we did a show. We called it the Rotties, and we did like social media awards at Bush Hall, which was at the end of January, and we kind of put it on sale at the behest of like the agent that helps us, Jacob's agent that helps us with the podcast, and it's quite a big room.
It's a big room.
Yeah, and I've been to see lots of music there actually, but I've never seen.
I actually hadn't. It was the first time I'd been there.
Is it really?
Yeah, really weird.
I went to see Natalie Press there. Do you know Natalie Press?
Natalie Press,
she's a really good. Anyway, and we didn't know what was going to happen. We jokingly said like turn up in suits because it's an award show. It sold out, which was like mental. First
quickly as well, right?
Yeah, and then people came, and it was fucking bedlam.
It was fucking bedlam.
It was insane. And
you can't plan that shit.
No, it was a bit slightly terrifying, but like genuinely amazing. Like I was just so. Yeah, it was emotionally a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because people like. I just like the idea that people enjoy it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I never had any sense of like. People came. They brought like their own bingo cards. They're making bingo cards.
I sat next to them actually.
Oh, without you were sat. There was like people came in suits. People wore their hats. They all went out together afterwards.
Yeah.
And it's just like that's the best bit for me.
Yeah.
That they
the community around it.
Yeah.
Fucking bananas, isn't it?
Yeah, and so the whole thing was completely bananas, and it was just really wonderful. We spoke to so many nice people. Everyone was really kind. And then, you saw us also do stand-up on Jacob's Live stand-up tour in the Hat Factory in Luton. And, so it was a pretty decent turn. I think it held 100. There's like 60 or 70 there. It was all right. There's not bad. It's Luton. There's a lot of people come to London. But then there was like 6 people in there who were like pissed.
I don't believe they weren't even pissed.
Were they even that pissed?
They weren't even that pissed. They were sat right in front of me. They're just fucking weird people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they were weird. And then halfway through the show, the mic went out. And I don't think I even spoke to you about this, but at every venue you have a tech, obviously, in the tech booth. Their job is to, if there are technical emergencies,
of course, move quickly.
Yeah, to sort it out. And so the mic went, and we'd had a run-in with the tech before the show.
Right.
Not a run-in, but like we went in, we came in, and he was playing Drake at like 300 decibels, rapping to himself. With the mic on the stage, which like, I mean, yeah.
Hang on, well, I missed the last part there. He was rapping on the stage.
Yeah, with the mic, yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
So
we walk into the room with the venue manager. He's like, Ethan's here. He's going to do the tech with you. He's going to set up the tech. We can't hear ourselves think because Ethan's rapping. He looks put out that we've asked him to.
That's how it felt when he had to replace the mic.
Well, this is it. But this is it. So I'm sat at the back with my mate Malcolm. Mine and Jacob's mate Malcolm. We already know Ethan is, shall we say,
not up for it.
Yeah, not up for it. Yeah, Ethan maybe is on some kind of scheme with the council, and the mic goes. So I'm like, he's not doing anything. Why isn't he doing anything? So I go back to the tech box. So I'm sat at the back. He's just not there. He just left. So it was like not clear where he went, and then I had to go running around to find him. I think he maybe went out for a smoke or something. Like
sure.
I can't stress how key enough it is that that is his job.
That is literally
his only job. Yeah.
It's not a hard job, I don't think, is it?
Not really.
Getting paid to watch comedy.
Exactly.
It's one microphone. It's not like watching it's not like watching Arcade Fire, is it? For fuck's sake.
He's not had to set up a like string quartet and like mic the room. Just like one mic. There's not even any music cues or anything in it. So it's just like, and then the venue manager was like, oh, I don't know where he is. He's always like this, like he's a kind of tearaway or something. And it's just like, we're paying it. This is coming out of our money, like Jacob's money. Like, it's just fucking mental. So yeah, that was when you saw us, and then it was a good gig. Other than that, I thought I
had a lovely time.
It was a really fun time.
I had a lovely time. It was there was moments though, weren't there? There were moments. It was really funny when Jacob sort of carried on the show a cappella. Unplugged, I guess, and just goes, well, I don't know what to do with my fucking hands. It was,
but this is a mad thing. Like, I think most people's interactions still, I think, with stand-up comedy is like on the telly, thousands of people, producers, dry ice, whatever. But that is what stand-up is mainly like, is being in some art centre with some 17-year-old that doesn't want to be there.
Or 6 people that think that comedy's roast battles.
Yeah.
Don't understand sitting back and let the fucking comedian get on with it.
Exactly. So, but I mean, it was a really fun show in the end. We had a really good time.
Yeah.
Lovely to see. I kind of clocked it was you halfway through the show.
Sure.
Obviously, we'd chatted a bit. And like, then you do this odd thing when you see someone you know in the crowd where you're doing your thing.
Yes,
but you're like
must be a bit disorientating
you're also
on
thinking
stage.
Like, so I've seen like people I knew from uni in the crowd before and stuff, and then you're like, because you're kind of not on autopilot because you're trying to be there, but like you can think about others. It's like driving, really.
Sure.
You got to think about other stuff while you're doing it. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Will.
So you don't want to get it wrong on stage,
but
do you?
But this is the other thing as well, because you were sat just out of the light as well. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's him, but it's like, anyway. So it was a fun night. 2 contrasting things, but to be honest, hopefully, touch wood, the way the podcast is going, there's the stand-up is more resembling the podcast than there's less of a divergence between the two things as we go.
So what's the next 12 months got in store for you then?
We're going on tour in September, October, so I think that'll be out by the time this comes out. Maybe not, but we're going to like Bristol, Manchester, Leeds, Glasgow, Brighton, I think.
Great.
Probably try and do some stand-up around that as well. Maybe go to the Edinburgh Fringe for a couple of days.
But that tour's for the podcast.
That's the podcast. So that's then, and then it's all a bit just overwhelming and new, really. So we're just trying to enjoy it. So yeah.
My concern is you've got a full-time job.
Yes, that is a concern for me as well. I really like my job as well, and crucially, it has paid holidays and. Like, so
you get to spend them with
I get to spend them with Jacob Hawley in a car.
Partner,
but it's like, I don't know, I guess there's any, I don't know if podcasting is an art, but like if there's any artistic thing where it suddenly starts becoming the dream, I suppose, is for always to kind of play its own way or become a thing, which is with stand-up has always ever been pocket money, really. I've never got to the stage where I've had to make the choice. So it is an interesting thing. I imagine it happens with a lot of music, probably more so with musicians, really, because it's like that is driving, practice, like
a lot more time.
That must be killer. So hopefully the two can kind of coexist for a bit longer, and then we'll see where we go.
I'm excited for you. I think you're gonna have a really, really fun 12 months, mate.
Hopefully.
Proud of you, buzzing for you. We could talk about comedy all day, but should we talk about some music?
Yeah, I'm excited. You
up for a bit of this?
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, before we actually let us know who we were going to discuss, who was you considering? Well, some people give me a little short list. I don't think I got one from you, did I? So,
well, because I'd listened to a couple of episodes, and it was like I thought the interesting part was the kind of emotional connection to it. So in my head, I was like, obviously, there's an emotional connection to your favorite album. So I guess I have some very cliched or like. I was a big Joy Division kid.
You've got emotions, haven't you?
I've got emotions, yeah. Like a lot of people in skinny jeans, I was the Smiths, Joy Division, when I was like 16, 17, 18. I mean, Unknown Pleasures I think will always be my favourite album or the best album, maybe of them all. But when you started, when we was kind of chatting about like the emotional connection, I thought this album that I picked that one pretty quickly because it's a band that have now been around what feels like forever.
Yeah.
And this album was at the stage of my life. I was at uni and I was like really getting into different kinds of music. But also it's like when I still listen to this album, I know it's a really trite, cliche thing to say, but like the transportive effect that music has, I think is a bit scary in a way, isn't it? Because it's like I fucking feel the feelings that I was feeling when I listened to this album.
Sure.
At that time when I was 18, 19. And that's kind of a bit weird, really. You can kind of abuse it like a drug a little bit, I think. I don't want to become an overly sentimental, like, scouser at the parties, like, crying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do become like that every now and again.
If you wanted to cry on the podcast, it would be a first. So this could be...
Okay.
Let's see how we get on.
Do you know what? I think you meant when we were chatting about like, oh, have you ever cried about this album or two? Do you know what I cry at? Choirs.
Oh, God, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
God, yeah.
People earnestly singing does me in.
Yeah. I've got this
time.
thing, right? So at least 3 Glastonburys now. On the Sunday, I'm sort of wandering around weird little places, and I've stumbled into a choir.
Right.
Oh, feeling all fragile and fucked up and delicate.
That's how they get you, yeah.
That's how they fucking get me. I remember one time walking into this tent and there was like more people on stage. There's probably about 12, 15 of them, about 4 people watching.
Yeah, yeah.
And they finished a song. Ladies, that was so beautiful, but I feel go watch Radiohead now. Thank you. It was, yeah.
Yeah, male Welsh vocal choirs.
Hello.
They're going to get me crying. Also, I don't know if you remember, there was this viral, it was kind of like before like virality now, it was like YouTube virality. There was this public school choir in New York, and they were like 10 or something, and they did Listomania by Phoenix.
Banger.
And I cannot get through it without crying.
Sure.
It's mad.
Yeah.
10-year-olds in New York singing with their little like choir master bloke.
Well, let's avoid those tears and get moving, shall we then, mate? Go on. Why don't you tell us which album we are discussing today?
We're going to discuss Days by Real Estate.
So today we are discussing the mellow, sunlit guitar vibes of the best thing to come out of New Jersey since Snooki, Paulie D and AJ Soprano's Grebo outfits. It's Real Estate and their second album, Days. Released in 2011, it was produced by Kevin McMahon and marked a notable shift from their more lo-fi debut, exposing a cleaner, breezier sonic style. It's warm, it's comforting, and it's got plenty of bittersweet melancholy. And despite an impressive 8.7 review from the impossibly hard to please Pitchfork, the album never really set the top 40 on fire, but the band have gone on to have a solid and consistent career, releasing 7 studio albums and touring the world. No doubt about it, if you live in a city where people in beanies serve you coffee or pints, you won't have to wait too long for Real Estate to play a venue near you. What made you choose this album to discuss today then, mate?
So I went to York Uni in 2009. And
what a year.
What year that was, by the way. And yeah, like fresh off I guess it was the credit crunch, was it? It was like everything was fucked. There were no jobs. So we were going to uni knowing that there might be jobs like 4 years from now if we were lucky.
Sure.
There weren't, as it turned out. Yeah, so like, but I'm from Stevenage, which is just outside London. There's like a tiny, boring town. And my kind of teenagers, I guess, were like coming into London to watch stuff, mainly indie.
Sure.
The Wombats, Block Party, that was those areas, Arctic Monkeys, that kind of thing. And
you're in good hands, don't worry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that you might have an inkling of what I'm talking about. But then when I went, I met these kind of impossibly urbane, aloof Londoners, mainly from North London, and they all knew lots about music. And Real Estate was the first, one of the first forays into that I had, really. And like you say, I think it's really important you bring up Pitchfork. Pitchfork was like everything. Yes. It's kind of hard to describe how much of a like cultural thing, because I haven't looked at it in literally years, I don't think. But like for us then, it was like, fucking hell, have you heard of like someone just got an 8.7? Like it was massive, wasn't it?
Sure.
It was an impossibly like important thing. And so it really reminds me of that time. It was the most played album of me and all my mates at uni. We went to see them in 2011 at the Brudenell Social Club in Leeds. It might still be the best day of my life, and I include my wedding day in that. Describe
this to me in more detail.
So that Saturday, me, my mate Jose, and my mate Dalton, we knew we were going to this gig in Leeds. Stevenage were on the telly at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We met at 11. We had a pint of milk each, as was our
so fucking unit.
Base layer at that time. We had a Dr. Urtka oven pizza. Stevenage drew tour with Sheffield United. And then we went to Leeds and we just didn't stop drinking until the end of the gig. And it was amazing. Like, you don't have days like that when you're an adult.
No.
You know what I mean?
If you could bottle that feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Complete possibility.
Anything was possible.
Anything was possible. I mean, obviously not. We're just going to Leeds on the train.
Smoke some fags and have a few cans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Drink loads of Red Stripe and crucially, yeah. So, I think the level that I smoked to then was really troubling.
Oh, my lungs were unbeatable back then.
Yeah.
There's nothing they couldn't take.
I couldn't do that now.
God, no.
I was on roll-ups as well, so there was no sense of how many you were actually smoking.
Sure.
Which is a terrifying thing. Because, I mean, how many did I smoke that day? It's impossible to tell.
It doesn't matter. The melancholy of it all is what matters.
But it was just an amazing album. It evokes that time and that feeling. But also it's like the feeling of like really caring about music. I don't care about music now in the way that I cared about music then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think you ever can really.
You can't.
You can't replicate that.
No.
Although if you are like 35 and still talk like with that intensity, being like, have you seen what Pitchfork have said? That's not a good look either.
Sure. Let's see if this podcast develops into that or not. We'll find out.
I think you bring a sense of you've got perspective.
I'd like to think so. I'm fucking old enough for one.
Yeah.
But I think when you first suggested this album, I love real estate. I should probably say, by the way, I'm a massive real estate fan. I wasn't sure if there's much to talk about on this, but I think it's a really interesting moment in culture.
Yeah.
When this album is released, because but the Pitchfork kind of thing. But back in 2011, indie bands weren't played on radio at all.
No.
And you wouldn't discover bands like this on Radio 1, or even Radio X wouldn't touch a band like this, which I can't quite work out why. How would you have discovered this lot?
I think it would have been through blogs. It would have been through like blogs again. God,
it sounds like fucking dinosaurs.
I'm the oldest man alive.
Yeah.
Like I think there was still also a remnant of like American college radio being kind of important as well.
Yeah.
We all did like radio shows that were like theirs, where they would just play music, like new music. I was obviously a nerd. I like doing what I do now, podcast wise. I was a nerd into that stuff. I had like 3 shows on my university radio show. One which was a like drive time talk shit show with a mate.
Not much has changed, has it?
Yeah, exactly. yeah. I've developed since then. One of which was like, here's all my tasteful American indie music that you might not have heard of.
Sure, because I'm cool.
Yeah, I'm very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk kind of NPR style in between. And so I think that was a bit of where it came from. But Pitchfork... Oh, you right?
Yeah.
Pitchfork and the blogosphere were the main things, I think. And there was also these, like, not rumour, but like there was constantly allusions to like their amazing live as well. Because the music is quite intricate and quite difficult to play, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But every time I've seen them live, they've been... like unbelievably indistinguishable.
So how many times have you seen them live?
I think like 4 or 5 now.
Pretty good going.
Yeah, I think that was the first time, that the best day of my life, 28th of April 2011.
You don't get 2 of them, do you?
You don't get 2 of them. No, you don't get 2 of them. But I think I like that sense of it being important. Do you remember? I don't know how old are you? Do you mind me asking?
39 in May.
Okay, so we're roughly the same. Like, do you remember like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came out that year as well?
And same year, right?
I think it was that year, or maybe it was when we were at uni, and Kanye, mad thing now, released like the 30-minute video for Runaway.
Yeah,
and we gathered together to watch it.
A communal moment.
Maybe the night it came out, we definitely watched it like numerous times over the following days. I think it got a perfect 10 on Pitchfork as well, which was like, I was getting text messages like, they've done it, they fucking done it. Which is just amazing to think now, isn't it? Like, who would give a shit about that? Now, like, do you know what I mean?
Sure.
As a teenager now,
you might post it on your story, and that'll be the level of like enjoyment or enthusiasm you can have for anything nowadays.
And like, I think that Pitchfork literally made or broke bands, and it basically anointed this band because they're fucking good. And they were maybe the last wave of people that I'm sure they'd still has a pull now, but like that was the last wave of like, here's a new band that aren't really that commercial, like you say, aren't really going to be on the radio, but are just going to make loads of money live. Yeah. And so that was how I think I heard of it initially. I guess I should shout out my mate Jose as well, who's he's got an amazing album out at the moment, actually. His name's Jose Jr. You can find it on Spotify.
Oh, he does the music for your podcast, right?
He does, yeah. He kindly lent us one of his songs as the theme tune to the podcast. And he is also just like a kind of real... just knows everything there is to know, and will put me on to really good stuff. And he probably put me on to this band, so I have him to thank as well.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you. Obviously, you mentioned the whole sort of 2011ness of it all. I think it'd be a bit of fun to sort of look at some cultural moments of 2011. I'd love to get your thoughts and feelings on a few of these.
Let's do it, yeah.
This was the year of Charlie Sheen's meltdown.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
And the auto-tuned remix on YouTube. Do you remember that?
Remind me, what was the auto-tuned remix? This rings a bell.
There was a YouTube channel, and they did auto-tuned remixes of things from the news. And like there was that guy. Do you remember there was that?
I think
guy
this is where I'm a little bit older than you and wasn't at uni. I think this is just those 3-4
You were probably,
years.
You were already working.
Yeah,
You're probably doing stuff. And they did that famous video where there was like an African American guy, and he was like, "They coming in here, they raping people." Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
And they like auto-tuned that, and they did this amazing auto-tune of Charlie Sheen being like, "Are you bipolar? I'm bi winning." I don't remember that. It was,
I remember him saying it. I don't remember this.
Fucking
remix.
hell, I'm the oldest man alive. Yeah.
I'm even older than I can't remember it.
God, Charlie Sheen's meltdown. Another thing that like it seemed so important at the time.
But it really did. You'd wake up each morning and think, "What's next?" I think this was the real beginning of social media being in your pocket. Felt like that year.
That's true.
Because one thing having I think about 08, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
But back then, they were a bit shit still. You couldn't really do social media.
No,
on them.
exactly.
And social media
and there wasn't much
pointless.
video either.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Social media is pointless if everyone's not involved.
Yes.
And then by 2011, everyone had an iPhone.
That's true.
So you had a big communal thing where anything could happen at any second.
Yes. Well, and that year as well was Coney 2012. Well, Coney 2012 was shortly after.
Sure.
And that was really driven by Facebook as well. And we were still of the generation, I was talking to my missus about this the other day, where you would wait for someone to upload an album of pictures from an event.
Yeah.
So if you'd looked hot at a party...
Big ask, but go on.
Big ask, but say you've got your, as in my case, insane skinny jeans on and some kind of horrible Smiths t-shirt, and you want that. That needs to be a profile picture. Ideally, you want to turn that around within 48 hours. Otherwise, it's lost relevance. And so you're waiting on someone with a digital camera to put their memory card in there, which again, insane. But you're right. It was the beginning of things being driven by virality, being driven by social media, mainly Facebook at the time, and I guess a bit of Twitter.
Sure.
And God, Charlie Sheen, God bless him. Is he still alive?
If you're with us, Charlie.
Yeah, R.I.P. if you're not.
I've heard 2 versions.
Yeah.
What else happened? Adele happened.
Really?
Well, that's when the second album come out, and
19.
Yeah, no, 21, I guess, wouldn't it?
21, of course.
It took about Ryan Adams' levels of taking over the charts and being number 1.
Fuck me, what a mad thing. Would you have expected it would be her to be like the Michael Jackson level person of her generation?
She's got a bloody good voice, isn't she?
Yeah, I remember though. Do you remember in the beginning she was a bit like, I've got my guitar and I've got a jumper on.
Yeah.
I remember. I think of my cousin went to see her in Birmingham, and it was like just her and a guitar.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I think the kind of like Celine Dion diva hair vibe.
Yeah, it was a big
good
change,
move.
actually.
I think.
I think it paid off.
I think she's doing all right.
I think she's doing all right.
Yeah.
It's a big recommendation for you guys.
Yeah,
Adele.
hot tip. Pitchfork approved.
Another thing that happened in 2011: Prince William and Kate Middleton.
Really?
Yeah.
Married or got together?
Married, yeah.
We probably got a day off for that, did we?
Did we get a day off? I remember watching it. Do you remember where you watched it?
Well, I must have been. I probably watched it in my second year uni house, which was so cheap that we didn't have a living room, and how we just had a kitchen we had a TV in the kitchen.
Sick.
I think we watched it there, and I think I remember my mate Rich, who is still involved heavily in Labour politics in the West Midlands and is a Republican. I remember there was a famous line that we often used to say. George Alagaya was on the TV, and he was in Afghanistan. I think there was a lot of bad stuff happening in Afghanistan at the time.
Well, actually, I was going to say Osama bin Laden and Gaddafi were killed.
Right,
so your memory's right.
So and gorgeous George Alagaya, who wonderful man by all accounts, very very sad that he'd passed away. He's talking about the fucking wedding. And I remember my mate Rich just shouting at the TV, "People are dying, George. Stop talking about the wedding." And that was my overriding memory of the wedding. Is that we were all like, "This." We probably loved the day off, but we were all like, "Fuck this." You know what I mean? All this attention being paid to these idiots.
I mean, I do love being an anti-royalist. It is very fun. But then occasionally, when these sort of moments happen, you go, "Oh, fucking die off."
How did you feel when the Queen died?
I find it really funny because...
What, her dying?
Well, look, death's not funny.
No.
But the way my former colleagues were speaking about it was fucking hilarious. I remember my then boss referred to her as her Royal Highness... What was she introduced? What's her full title? Her Majesty, Her Royal Highness, Queen Elizabeth II has died. And I thought, who are you talking to? Like,
oh, he said that in conversation?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was... you haven't got to talk to us like we're...
The Prince Andrew thing's really... taking the gloss off it as well, isn't it?
I mean, it's a pretty gloss-free zone, isn't it?
It's tough. I mean, good for comedy. He's hilarious.
Man.
He's hilarious. Man.
Endless.
But yeah, being involved with the kind of guy that was systematically a paedophile all across America, and then using kind of money from the royal family to get the victims to shut up, it's not a great look, is it?
I mean, this shows how far we've come culturally. Kanye West, Prince Andrew, Pippa Middleton's bum, that was apparently fascinating back then.
I was trying a bit for a long time that didn't really work, which was about that.
Sure.
That in 2012, 2011, my two most favourite cultural people were Kanye West and Russell Brand.
Sure, same.
And, yeah, exactly, yeah. But like many people of our generation. And then trying to like, the third kind of punchline reveal being that Prince Andrew was like my third. Also the one I was most gutted about.
There's definitely something there. If you can get those pieces right, there's definitely a good gag there somewhere, isn't there?
There was it involved like when I was 16, Russell Brand was my favourite comedian. When I was 16, Prince Andrew kept texting me asking me to come around for dinner.
It's a good bit.
Yeah.
It's a good bit.
But I think it is because it's so raw that it's kind of difficult, really. I think because he's a ridiculous figure.
Sure.
But what he's done and the way that he's just kind of waltzed away from it is so subconsciously so bleak for people that or I'm just shit at comedy and it wasn't a good joke. Like bending over backwards to find a reason why that joke didn't work.
Well, I refuse to answer that question. Should we get back to the album, maybe? How important has the imagery and fashion of this band been for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, like you say, these guys, it's beanies,
it's Beanie City,
it's check shirts,
sure,
it's chinos. It's not quite as preppy as Vampire Weekend, but it's heavy twill shirts, button-down shirts. It's good stuff, really. It's stupid. It's stupid glasses. It's Rain Max. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to bring this up because I was seeing them live once before. I wasn't too familiar with how they looked, and I got a bit of a surprise. I mean, am I crazy? Or does that geezer look like a combination of me and you combined?
Yeah, he does actually. So actually, I can't. So I know. Obviously, this is Courtney, the lead singer. And then this guy's the bassist, and he gets one song an album that's always the worst song on the album. Does this picture include the Sex Pest?
Look. Oh, they're a Sex Pest?
They had a Sex Pest, yeah.
Fuck me, my research was not quite deep enough. Tell me more.
God, he was the guy that was in DuckTales as well. Don't know if you remember.
Yeah, DuckTales are great.
But I mean, cancelled Sex Pest. But
really?
Yes, and he was summarily fired from the band for being a sex pest.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if he is in this picture. If he is, you can scrub his face out after the fact. I haven't got internet to find it. But yeah, the fashion was a big thing. It was moving away from the kind of Kings of Leon era. Unbelievably tight jeans.
Yeah. It was a bit less extreme, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a bit more palatable.
And I haven't really changed since. It's been a lot of chinos and button-down shirts since, really.
Yeah, my jeans have got a bit less skinny over the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But only a little bit.
Yeah. You still...
I know what I really want to be wearing.
Exactly. You can still rock it if you wanted to.
Just trying to
That's
avoid
a lovely suit, by the way.
Do you like it? I actually wore it to the Rotties, yeah.
Did you?
I did, actually. But that's
Fantastic.
more just went straight from the office.
Right.
Just about
more palatable.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
pretty good
it's
suit,
perfect.
You know what I mean? So I thought I'd be consistent.
There you go.
Today. How often do you revisit this album?
All the time. I mean, the other thing to say about them is this is their second album. Obviously, I picked it because of youth and possibility and all of that stuff. But all of the albums are good. They're all good.
Yeah.
And they all sound, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, they all sound exactly the same.
Honestly, I put it's the sound of a single idea spread over 10 songs. And that is not meant as a slight. I think it's really great.
You've done me there. That's what I should have said. You've made me look like a right fool.
We can redo this. It's the sound of a single idea spread over 7 albums.
I would say, Will, that it's the sound of a single idea spread over 10 songs or indeed 7 albums. No, it's like you say, it is in the best possible way. And so I realised this because the most recent album, which is also a belter.
I was going to say it's my second favourite, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. And Water Underground particularly, which I think was the lead single, is like mad. But it's so similar to that one that it evokes the same feeling.
Oh, nice.
Which is like, so I get the same kind of rush of nostalgia, but it's not an old album.
It's recorded in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. So which is a testament to like the stylistic integrity of it all. They, like you say, they've found a good idea. It's not broke. Don't bother fixing it. No need to fix it.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I struggle to sell your podcast to someone that's not heard it before. How would you sell real estate to someone that's not heard it before?
I would say it was a big critical thing at the time, and we used to talk about it. It was a bit, I've never been to New Jersey, but we'd always say, it sounds like New Jersey, doesn't it? It sounds like Garden State a bit. It's
deliberately evocative. We'll come back to that actually, but like, it's trying to capture something, isn't it, sonically?
Yes.
and painting pictures, even just through the sonic. There's one thing doing with the lyrics, but even sonically, they're trying to capture and bottle something, aren't they? I think.
And I think that they really lent into. I think maybe more so on the later stuff. This album has a famous song on it called Green Isles, which is about driving around New Jersey.
I'm trying to make you remember things here, guys. I'm trying to capture moments. Aren't I?
Yeah. Which is like, but that's the thing. It doesn't. I've never been to New Jersey. Everyone drives around when they're a teenager doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so like, there was that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how I'd recommend it. Is these like perfect melodies, this kind of really like you say, evocative, I think purposefully sentimental. That's the other thing.
We're having
well,
that.
right?
We're having that, yeah.
Like, well, I'm talking about sentimentality and about remembering my youth. Like, they are trying to do that to me.
So let's go back and set the scene a little bit. And you're at uni. How bad was your haircut? Who broke your heart? How much does your room smell of fags?
Yeah, those are the three like bob-on questions. Yeah, my haircut was pretty bad.
Yeah?
Mainly through budgeting necessity.
Sure.
Often doing it myself.
What were the products of choice?
Well, I had my own clippers, and the sides were completely shaved. They're down to almost at an undercut, and the top is like kind of mushroom level. Like
Sounds quite 90s.
Yeah, I guess it kind of was really. There was a lot going on there. Yeah. Big earrings.
Big earrings?
Big earrings, tight jeans.
How big are we talking?
Actually, about the same size I've got now. Not far off. Yeah. Okay. I like
big-ish earrings.
It'll be a sad day when it goes. It's going to have to go soon.
Do you want to hear something funny? When my parents got divorced, I remember it was like Debenhams or something. And could you imagine the most satisfying thing as a divorced parent, like bringing the kids back after their weekend and just doing something to piss off the other half?
Right.
So wasn't Debenhams? Mum's gone, what's on this floor? Oh, boys, they've got ear piercings on the 6th floor.
All of you together?
Me and my little brother, yeah.
Incredible.
Wouldn't it be nice for your dad to see you arrive back home today
How do you
with
respond?
your ears pierced? He quietly took us into the house, closed the door, and had a word with my mum outside.
Yeah, I think I might have done my own ear first year. Yeah.
What was the apparatus of choice there?
Actually, did I get it done? No, I think I got it done at like a grungy tattoo shop in York. Actually, I think I got it done when I was 16, and then again when I was 18. I couldn't remember the two. Maybe it was 16 when it was like ice cubes and a pin, and it was this one was the proper stuff, antiseptic stuff. Yeah, obviously severe heartbreak, completely severe heartbreak.
Yeah.
Summer of second year.
That's the year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just looking back on it now. I was such a small town boy as well. Like obviously living on the fringes of the big city. You grew up in
suburban. I grew up in like Ruislip, really.
Right.
And it's weird.
It's not too dissimilar to Stevenage.
I was going to
really.
say that
probably more like it's proper London, to be fair.
It's
isn't
kind
it?
of not though. Honestly, it feels like a little bubble. Even still now, it's so undiverse and white there,
right?
And it's full of people that never leave Ruislip,
right?
So it might as well be Stevenage. I think,
yeah,
genuinely. Even though like fucking, you can be in Oxford Street in 35, 40 minutes.
Yes,
it doesn't feel like it, and no one ever fucking leaves.
Yeah,
really
no,
I'm not mates with anyone from school anymore.
Right.
Anyone.
That does sound similar to Stevenage, and. Obviously fell in love with a impossibly kind of cool Londoner, and I think looking back on it, I don't know if it was love or admiration really. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
When you look back on it now, it wasn't a mutually kind of, we liked each other, we were nice to each other most of the time, I suppose, but it was more of a like, I think I was more of a fan of her than I was in love with her. And I was obviously impossibly neurotic and impossibly small town, and in the end must have become very boring to her, I'd imagine.
I guess one thing we've not discussed actually is the artwork.
Yes.
I mean, what the fuck is it?
I remember looking this up, and it's. I wondered if it had been commissioned by them or taken by them. It's not. It's from an actual photographer. I think it's in New Jersey. I think it's the New Jersey.
Do you reckon?
Coast.
That looks like Middle Eastern or something to me. I think, or somewhere hot.
I always liked it. I think it's always it's the best artwork of all the albums. Actually,
I think that's fair.
I didn't like. I liked the main thing, and I didn't like the new one so much, Daniel. But it was really good, and
but
I think
it didn't ruin your enjoyment of it.
The minimalism of it is quite cool. I think. Yeah. And the font, I like the font where they can stick, because that's still like, if they're on the Reading lineup or whatever, that font's on there, and you know that's like, oh, that's them.
Yeah,
that's class. I think.
When did you last see him live?
Oof. I I think after COVID, was it? I can't. It's hard to distinguish between the two. They were in Hackney sometime in the last 2 years, I think.
They seem like a band that would be in Hackney fairly regularly.
I think it was in Hackney, yeah. In the church, I think. But yeah, they're still amazing live.
Yeah.
Really good live.
I've only seen them live once. I saw them at Glastonbury. And I probably had it.
I've never seen them outside at a festival, actually.
Yeah, well, this was in the tent. It's in the John Peel
Okay.
stage. I think it must have been 2019 or no, I don't know. Anyway, it was. And I think I may have had the perfect experience of listening to them. Hanging out my arse.
Okay.
Sunday morning.
Yes.
Lying on my back at the back of a tent.
Nice.
What you thinking about that?
I'd go with that.
You going with that?
Yes, I think good band to see hungover. I think increasingly men of our age, you don't want to be down the front.
Oh,
so
God, no.
back's great. I actually went to see a mate of mine played at the Union Chapel recently.
Yes.
A seat with the back.
Pretty
for
good.
The whole thing.
Happy with that?
It's a pew, but it's like I can't be stood down the front.
Pews are infamously quite uncomfortable.
Relative to like standing next to some Six Music listener who's got his record, who's got his shoulder bag on and his ASIC trainers, like better than that.
5 pints and farting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hear it.
Farting ale kind of
Yeah,
farts.
I know them ones.
Better than that.
Yeah. What do you think would be the perfect scenario and setting to listen to this album? Paint a picture.
Oh, I think barbecue with your mates when you're 21. British summer in the garden.
How many pints?
I mean, ideally you're 4 cans in. You're four
Just
four
past
cans
the
in.
sweet spot.
There's the comedian Liam Williams is my favourite comedian, probably. He had this amazing line in the radio series of Ladhood, his first series, and he said that it was one of those. I remember the line. It was one of those British summer days where the light went on forever, and it was barbecue skies. And you know that's another suburban thing, right? Because it's like different in the city when you're walking around. In Stevenage, it would get hot. You would walk around, it would be blue skies, and you could smell barbecues everywhere. And that is that kind of day you want to be listening to this on. As the sun's going down, maybe you've had the barbecue, actually.
Right.
And you're getting into that stage of like, it's kind of at dusk time. And you're on your 4th or 5th can. That's probably my
I think that
situation.
works better. When you were talking about doing it at a barbecue, I'm thinking it's too much talk. There's too much banter. You're not listening to the album.
Right. But maybe
I'm thinking the way home. I think that works a lot better.
Yeah, walk home. The
walk home
from the
post-barbecue.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Feeling fat, but still thinking, I could have something else to eat when I get in.
Yeah, I could go again here,
I
actually.
could go again.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
We're having that. Teamwork, man. Workshop.
Yeah, it's nice.
Paid off well. Shall we get into a couple of the songs?
Please.
Come on, then. I think it starts off pretty strong, doesn't it?
It does.
It sets an absolute consistent pace, vibe, atmosphere for the entire thing. Track 1, Easy. What's your thoughts and feelings?
It's, I think, one of the great album openers of that era. You mentioned, like, in a message you sent to me, it was really, I was like, oh, I'm dealing with a serious operator here, because you were like the kind of
I've
dive.
sold you a product, I'm afraid, but go on.
The dive, Mac DeMarco. I can't remember, you think we mentioned one other.
Probably Beach Fossils, maybe.
Beach Fossils, yeah.
But this is the thing, 'cause these bands, I don't know where they belong and who they're, I know they're reaching people that look like us and dress like us, but I don't know where they belong culturally and like who their media outlets are.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, you had MTV and fucking VH1 in the box and whatever.
Yeah.
None of these bands, despite being quite palatable and not particularly, I don't know, like harsh to listen to at all, they're not played on radio ever.
No.
And I don't really understand who their audience is and how these bands are so as big as they are.
But this is it now, where it's like, and I think this is the case with all media and kind of what we get to a bit on Screenrot, where it's like, there are, particularly in America, the economy of America is as such that
we're going there, are we? Okay.
Well, but like, and like, so I have a mate of mine is in a band called Bad Breeding, who are like a hardcore punk band, and they're amazing, and they've had a really good career. They've kind of made a decent living out of it in what is an increasingly hostile industry. In America, there are enough big cities and towns that there are 300 people that like real estate in each of those towns.
Yeah.
And in the big cities, there are 2,000 to 3,000 people that like real estate in those places. And before, you would have needed the radio to be on your side in order to access those people. But with the advent of that early stage social media, blogosphere particularly, Facebook and stuff like that, MySpace, obviously, that was the big turning point for indie in this country. Like, they were able to access those people. There's no mediator really between those two things. Do you know what I mean? Like, I guess we have like kind of Six Music over here, which is kind of like that. I guess still has some cachet or whatever. But like that's the thing that you can kind of go round. I think you can swerve it a bit now. You can find the beanie wearers and the coffee drinkers in each city.
I think what's really helped this band, I can't pretend to know too much about how the music industry works, but being signed to the same label as Arctic Monkeys does give you a bit of freedom to fail, right?
Yeah, and so I think that their label is like, it's one of the last kind of,
it's them and XL Records are the only two.
And it's one of the, I think like
Domino Records is probably safe.
Domino, and it's one of those where it's like, they still have there's a really good point actually. For me saying, oh, you can just kind of find them. They are actually quite a traditional tastemaker in the way where they find 2 or 3 American indie bands a year and they basically vault them into. So Pinegrove or not, they basically did that for Pinegrove
cut
as well.
From a similar cloth.
And so that's another way they get to it. But I remember it was like, is it KXRP in America as well? They do those like live sessions.
Yeah,
that was a
really good sessions, aren't they?
Huge thing for us at uni as well. So it was a bit of that. It was the label was a tastemaker, the Pitchfork, bit of like I say, collegey kind of like word getting out around that scene. And in this country, it's only really like 6 cities you have to get big in, isn't it? Like Glasgow, Edinburgh here, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham.
Huge in
Leeds.
Bristol.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it's not too many people to find, I suppose.
But back to track 1, please.
So Easy is, I think, like I say, a really perfect opener. And in terms of like if you don't like that, you're not going to like the rest of it.
Exactly. Yeah. We've got a pretty consistent 40 minutes ahead of us, guys.
Yeah, and it's like you we say that a lot actually with our podcast of like, if it's someone's first episode they're listening to,
I know.
like if you like it, if you like it, you're going to like it, and if you don't, then it's fine because you're not going to like it. This is what it is. And that's kind of similar for them. Green Isles, should I just go through?
Please.
I mean, I really like. So the one people will probably know if they do it all is It's Real, which was the lead single.
Sure.
Has got this kind of huge kind of non-vocal or like non-verbal chorus.
OOOs we'd call
lots
them.
of OOOs, yeah. And you can sing along pissed to that.
Yeah, purpose built for festivals,
exactly,
I'd say.
Yeah, and is a real beauty. But then there are smaller moments. Out of Tune is particularly on that kind of
put
level.
Massive capital letters, gorgeous guitar parts open the song.
I think that's right. I can't remember. Is it? I think Kinderblumen is the
instrumental one.
Is the instrumental one. And then I think Wonder Years is maybe the bassist's contribution.
Well, I put the bass playing really drives the song, and I put slightly weaker.
Yes,
but maybe that's me being a bit generous.
And then and I would encourage people at the end. There's basically this like for real estate, what is their like kind of freak out really?
Yes,
where they have 6 minutes of this like twinkly.
It's fucking awesome.
Yes,
it is so good. My wife's actually got a bit sick of it. I learned to play that on guitar recently.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't know you're an axe man.
The whole time, I'm not that fucking good. It took me fucking ages.
right.
And the wife would hear me struggle. Play for about half an hour before bed, struggling to get it right. I'd have it in my ears, in my earphones, and play the guitar. And after about 3-4 weeks of doing that, and I played the extra song in the car once. Is that fucking song you keep playing?
You've ruined it for forever.
Yeah, that's a sacrifice I was willing to make. But that leads on quite nicely. What do you think is the best bit of the album?
I do like Green Isles. I think that in terms of the sentimentality, the lyric in the chorus, all those wasted miles, all those aimless drives through.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've written down here as well.
Like that is what I think of when I mean, I do think of It's Real in terms of like the singing along pissed with your mates, but like that is I think the truest, like that's the mission statement of the album, that song.
Sure.
I think.
I even put as well, the guitars almost sound like waves. It slides in and slides back.
Yeah.
There's something really, really evocative in that as well.
It's woozy.
Very woozy. You've had half an edible.
Yeah, it is. It is like you're kind of pissed at the end of the barbecue.
Yeah.
And it is. It is. Yeah, I didn't really reflect on that until you asked me that question. It is like in summer. Is an album of summer, really?
Yeah.
I think. And I do like that a lot. And I remember like I was kind of into that, and I was into the New Jersey-ness of it. I was actually watching Sopranos for the first time at that time as well, and obviously. There's lots of like the more unlovely bits of New Jersey in the Sopranos.
Sure.
And so it was an interesting kind of twofer, I suppose, this album and The Sopranos.
Double New Jersey.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you were just saying just then, though, the idea of summer. And like, do you ever get that feeling in the summer where you're not being summer enough?
Oh, yeah. I really struggle with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the idea of capturing every moment.
Yeah.
I think that's something this album really sort of captures, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true, actually. I actually get quite depressed in the summer.
Sure.
Because I think there's a massive, what's the word? Like pressure to have a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, we only get about 4 days a year. Fucking get out there.
Yeah.
Get the barbecue on.
You're a fucking square.
Exactly, yeah. You're a
What
square.
are you doing with your life?
And actually, that was a theme of like my uni time. I was like very uptight. I'm still an uptight person, but I was like very kind of like neurotic and like about that stuff. And I was with lots of like cool London people that were just like, we'll do whatever we want, man. And like the summary aspect of it, that's true. You feel like, fucking hell, I need to be out there. I need to be out doing something. I need to be in the pub garden. And even if you just want to sit at home and read a book, you have to do it.
I think as I've gotten older, I've made my peace of that, though. It's
that is one of the only beauties of getting older is you don't really care what people think.
They're
about
saying
you
that. In all honesty, I've got a pretty fucking lively summer ahead of me. I don't mind telling you.
Have you? What are you doing?
Fucking everything. I've got fucking Glastonbury. I've gone to see Berlin to see the Maccabees. I've got 2 Oasis shows. I'm taking the fucking piss, in all honesty.
2 Oasis shows?
I've got double Oasis.
How did you get that?
Great question, actually. I think I mentioned it on the podcast. But on the day of the big ticket sale, when everyone got fucked over in the,
dynamic pricing.
Exactly. I got in before the dynamic pricing.
Right.
It took me about 3 hours, but I got them at face value, got 4 tickets. It was horrible. It was stressful. I thought I'd had a bad day. It turns out everyone else had a fucking far worse day than I did. So I'd done well in hindsight. And then when they announced a few extra shows about a week or 2 afterwards, I said to my 3 friends that I got tickets for, right, I got you guys tickets. I know you'd like to take your partners with you or whatever else.
Right.
But guess what? You're getting me that second ticket. At that point, you can only buy 2 tickets for these ones.
Right.
And my brother got through and he brought 2 tickets. And as much as I love his wife, who's a dear, dear friend of mine, who's been part of my life for a very long time,
you're going instead.
This is the time to be really selfish.
So like, are you excited? How excited are you? Look, I like Oasis. I like Oasis a lot. I'm not a big enough fan where it'd be like, I would obviously go anyway. The whole thing fills me with dread. I feel like something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, well, this is the thing about having that pressure to have fun.
You're right.
I think I'm already nervous about...
People are going to be fucking mental.
Well, this is it. I'm already nervous about how much I'm going to be drink and not drink beforehand. I'm going to have all this energy and excitement.
You don't want to be pissing
constantly. I'm quite an excitable man.
Right.
I get a bit carried away.
Right.
I'm going to wake up that morning at 5 o'clock and not know what to do with myself.
Right.
I'm nearly fucking 40 and I'm still
good,
like a kid before Christmas.
But I'm just like you say, yeah.
What do I do
we
with
have
this
a pint?
energy?
Do we have a pint now? I don't want to be queuing for the loo when Wonderwall's on.
It's stressful already.
It's a lot of stress.
Yeah, it really is.
It's how fun I am to hang out with in the summer.
No, but I'm there, and I just sort of wish I was that kind of grown-up that could sort of see past it now and have a bit of restraint and a bit of calm and not need to have 5 pints at a gig. Which I can do, but I think this will be a bit different.
Yeah.
I can go to a gig on a Wednesday and not have to get 5 pints.
No.
But this is different.
This is an event, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that at another thing for the neurotic warrior in me is festivals. Obviously, you're always a minute away from missing out on something.
Sure,
we've got to leave now. We've got to get to that.
Sure.
Or what time are these guys on? Like,
I've gotten better with this.
Right.
I think coming to so many Glastonburys now, I have sort of made my peace with that. I am mostly the ringleader. Come on, guys, 5 minutes. We better get fucking moving now.
You need one of them in every group.
Yeah, I'm also not afraid to sack the gangs off if I need to.
Yes.
Their company's nice, but not as nice as the LCD sound system.
Right, the music takes precedent.
Sometimes it does, I do like banter as well.
Yeah.
I also don't really like
You've got
bands.
2 eyes and a heart, don't you? Yeah.
I've got a pulse.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a sweet spot there, and I'm willing to make sacrifices where appropriate.
I think that's a good, healthy approach.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to cover about the album that we've not touched on yet?
No, I feel like I've wanged on about sentimentality and the possibility of youth and all of that shit, really. I mean, if people haven't listened to it, it's a lovely album. They're an excellent band. And like we said, even the most recent album, Daniel, which is a lot more of the same.
Yeah.
But by the same, I mean a lot more very good. All of the albums, I like Atlas a lot as well. So yeah, well worth a go. Well worth your time.
Put that on the fucking top of the podcast. Cracking. Normally, at the end of these, I do like a little quiz.
Please.
I've spent fucking hours on a very unrewarding, unfulfilling task, trying to find some kind of pun with real estate and Screenrot, and
right.
I was trying to make something happen that wasn't going anywhere.
Okay.
as a comedy writer yourself.
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
you've had that problem before.
Yeah. Tell me about
Fucking hell. What was the difference? It just didn't work, this idea. Like real estate rotters, which people you done on Screenrot you'd go into real estate business with. It was.
I don't mind it.
You fucking should have. It was pretty bad. So I might need your help with a few of these. You might have to yes-and me a little bit
Okay,
here.
fine.
Okay. Because we're going to play a game of unreal state or real estate.
That's great.
You having that?
I'm on board.
Fuck me, I need your help here, brother.
Yeah, come on,
really.
let's do it.
So what I'm going to do is give you some American states.
Okay.
A mad fact about them. You've got to say if that's real estate
Nice.
or unreal estate.
Okay.
It's basically true or false.
I can live with that. I can work with that.
And I'm very aware, it doesn't really work well for a podcast. It's pretty closed questions for this.
Right,
I'm someone
right,
that
right.
works in fucking sales. I should know better than this.
Yes or no.
But I'm hoping get something out of this.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So American states. Are these facts real or are they not? Florida is known for its orange trees, amusement parks, and passionate consumption of hip new party drug, fentanyl. But is it true or false that Florida is home to the only wild monkey population in the United States?
I am. I believe that it is a big people owning exotic animals state. The Tiger King.
I mean, Florida's got a reputation.
Yeah. Strange people, jet skis, barbecues, that kind of thing.
But does it have a wild monkey population?
Based on my consumption of one episode of The Tiger King 5 years ago, I'm going to say yes, it does.
He's correct. It's true. Florida is the only state in America with a wild monkey population. Really? A state. Really?
Yeah,
a
it's great.
Onwards. Alaska is known for its 24 hours of darkness during winter solstice, dog sledding, and aurora borealis at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen. But true or false? The Alaska state flag was designed by a 13-year-old orphan called Benny Benson in a statewide contest.
What was that name, sorry?
Benny Benson.
Benny Benson. That's fantastic. If you said no, if you've made that up, that's great news. I'm going to say no on the hope that you've made up Benny Benson.
Benny, if you're listening.
Is it real?
He's a real boy.
Wow. Well, fair play, Benny.
Fair play, Benny, you creative little flag
I always
designer.
think that about names like that. Like, you can't do that to a kid.
There was a kid at my school called Graham Gamble. It doesn't sit right with me, the sort of double lettering.
It's not that. Even that's a bit negligent, I think.
Negligent.
Calling someone Benny Benson is ridiculous.
Thank you
You're
for finding,
asking for them to get taken the piss out of.
Thank you for finding something in these sentences here, with very closed questions.
There you go.
3. New York is known for its skyscrapers, indie rock bands, and orange-faced tyrant sex offenders. But true or false? 21 elephants, 17 camels, and a rooster all crossed the Brooklyn Bridge in its first 2 years of existence. Real estate or unreal state?
When was the Brooklyn Bridge built?
There are no follow-up questions, I may ask.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, no follow-up answers from me. You can ask what you want, but I've got nothing for you.
I'm going to say that was how they got them to the Manhattan Zoo. I'm going to say yes.
That's actually probably what... Do you know what? I think you could be correct.
Really?
Mind you, that 21 elephants does sound excessive for one zoo.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Maybe they didn't make it much further past the...
But then
past Brooklyn.
everything's bigger there. Everything's bigger there. It's, that's the kind of thing they would do.
Well, it's true.
Wow.
It did happen. On to the next one. Texas is a state that's famous for barbecue food, cowboy culture, and southern hospitality. Unless, of course, you're black, Asian, gay, trans, ginger, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Sikh, or vegan. But is it true or false that it's illegal to shoot a buffalo from the second floor of a hotel room? Shall I repeat the question there?
No, I've got it.
You got it? You with me?
I'm obsessed with American cowboy culture. I read these books by Larry McMurtry about buffalo hunting.
You're looking at me as if I know who Larry is, but go on.
Great books. I feel like I have the answer to this. I feel like that is true.
It's false.
Fuck!
You are well within your rights to shoot a buffalo from the second floor of a hotel room.
I thought there was stuff put
Texas.
in place to kind of protect the last ones, but you know the buffalo killings were a real thing.
Tell me more.
Because you know there were like millions of them, and then they became so valuable, but there is a very specific thing about them where they don't run away.
Right.
So they're so stupid that they don't run away from men with guns. Even when someone fires a gun, the others won't necessarily charge or run away.
Wow.
So they came to this very strange situation where they would just go around slaughtering these animals in their millions on the plains, and there were these scenes of insane devastation, millions of rotting
It's fucking
carcasses.
stink.
Yeah, it was crackers. You could smell it for hundreds of miles. And it was like, that was the foundational thing of America, was the wealth extracted from these buffalo herds that had been preserved over many hundreds of years. This is a really wanky thing.
Who saw this coming up on the real estate?
Yeah.
God, let's do another one. California is a state that's famous for movie production, legal cannabis, and beaches so full of human waste that even the millions of homeless in the city have moved inland. But is it true or false that in Sierra Nevada mountains you can find pink or red snow caused by a type of microscopic algae called Chlamydomonas nivalis?
Wow.
Zero research.
Pink or red snow?
Yeah, apparently so. But am I bullshitting? I don't know.
I think that's too intricate to be false. I'm going to say that's true.
Yeah, I'm not clever enough to put those kind of words together. You saw through me pretty quickly in the last 50 minutes or so, haven't you? I've got another 5 questions. These are a bit fucking faster, in all honesty. Real estate. Nah, you're all right, thanks, mate.
Okay.
You having this? Basically, it's would you rather.
Oh, I like this.
And these are a bit more on brand, I think.
Okay.
4 pints and a bit of a vape on the way home, or 1 pint and Big John's waiting for you at home with enough Chinese feed to feed a small village. Because you spoke, even before we were recording, you spoke about how you had 4 pints last night.
That is a real Sophie's choice. There is nothing I like more than 4 pints and a vape.
Yeah.
Equally, the idea of having a Chinese with the big man is...
After 1 pint, you get 1 pint.
It's probably too good to turn down, and it would cost many hundreds of thousands of pounds at his current level of celebrity. So I'm going to take that one.
That's an offer you can't turn down.
No, I can't refuse that.
Of course not. Think of the content.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
What I wouldn't give.
Number 2, a 90-minute seminar from the weird brewdog bloke on the year's EBITDA, or 90 minutes watching Eating with Todd polish off a tray of profiteroles.
Wow.
Which of those would be more insufferable?
So we have a fair amount of contact with Todd.
I wasn't quite sure how much of that was a joke and how much was real.
No, he messages us quite a lot.
Okay.
And he's actually quite a nice bloke. I don't enjoy watching him eat and get stuff all around his mouth.
Exactly. You are watching him eat these profiteroles.
But I think I would be able to have...
handful.
Yeah, he does get quite dirty hands as well, which is something I don't...
But would it be
like.
Interesting to hear 90 minutes...
I couldn't live through that.
Brewdog.
I would have to go with Todd.
It's got to be Todd.
I think I could have a chat between the profiteroles.
It is based on watching him, though. Communication wasn't mentioned in this.
Oh, I'm not allowed to talk to him.
Fucking, you're watching him eat.
Maybe I'll go to the Brewdog thing and then kill him then.
On your head, be it. Question 3. 12 rounds with HS Tiki Toki or 12 minutes in heaven with Bevo?
Oh my God. I mean, HS Tiki Toki is a genuinely volatile
and
scary
would die.
Yeah,
I think you would die. I would die.
There's not a 0% risk that he kills us in some form anyway. God, though I am really not up. I don't know where Bevo's been recently as well, so there would be some kind of physical danger inherent in that as well, because he's doing some really quite wild stuff. I think it's got to be Bevo, just because like you say, I would literally
the
die.
risk of death is less,
not
slower.
Yeah.
12 minutes in heaven with Jake Humphreys or 12 rounds with the Rizzler.
Oh, I can't go 12 rounds with the Rizzler.
But well.
The Rizzler.
You could go in defense mode.
God, I love the Rizzler so much.
Fucking hell, I love that guy.
It's the most American thing that's ever happened.
The most New Jersey thing.
How did we not bring up the Rizzler? Yeah. Yesterday, he put on his Instagram stories he was on a plane and he was watching The Godfather 2 on a plane.
That's amazing.
It was incredible.
No more questions.
It's 11.
Humphreys. Very
gonna have to.
Very good. Last one, we're nearly there. Fucking hell. Thanks for playing along, by the way.
No
Jesus Christ, thank God. I had to sort of judge the vibe of how this was recorded before I went in. Question 5. Would you rather have Liam C get his ukulele out at a party that you're hosting, or have Ahmed Yaqub defend you in court for a little bit of mild fraud? Mild fraud.
Oh, that's great. I would.
There's jeopardy, but like...
I would have Liam C. I think that's a talking point for the party. People don't forget that party.
Sure.
If he does one of his ukulele raps.
The day that your mate Steve nutted that fucking weird guy. With
yeah, exactly. If he did it with some of the people that I know, I think it could get quite tasty quite quickly. Other people I think would just stare into their pints and it would be really funny.
Yeah.
So I think I'd go with that.
Oh yeah.
I don't want my legal future in the hands of Ahmed Yaqub.
I think that's a great place to finish things. Well, look, honestly, this has been a right laugh, man. Can't thank you enough for coming over today.
Thanks for having me.
The floor is yours. What would you like to tell the world? Well, the world, you know.
Listen to the Screenrot podcast. We're coming on tour to a city near you in September, October. We're also releasing the video, the award show that you came to in the next week or two on Patreon. So you can find it there. I think the Patreon's pretty good value. It's $3.99 a month. $5.99 if you want a hat. Extra episodes every Friday, extra videos every month and stuff. So yeah, hopefully people will come and listen to the podcast and enjoy it, and maybe we'll see them at a stand-up show soon.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I have been William Han. This has been This Album. They have been Real Estate, and he has been